Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to NDTV. I am Ankit Tyagi. We are continuing our coverage because the situation on the line of control between India and Pakistan still is very, very volatile. Continuous ceasefire violations by Pakistan confirmed by the foreign minister. We'll get you all the details. Let's take a look at the headlines. Hours after truce agreement, Pakistan violates ceasefire. India accuses Pakistan of breach of understanding. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri says army instructed to deal strongly with these violations. Gujarat Home Minister Harsh Sanghvi says drone spotted over Kutch. Gujarat Home Minister says a complete blackout has been implemented. Meanwhile, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Umar Abdullah slams Pakistan, says what kind of ceasefire is this? Speaks about explosions across Srinagar. Prime Minister Modi meets National Security Advisor Ajit Doval post the ceasefire understanding with Pakistan. Prime Minister also meets all the services chief. From 5 p.m. on Saturday evening, ladies and gentlemen, India and Pakistan were supposed to get into some sort of ceasefire understanding that both the countries achieved after Pakistan initiated a phone call with the DGMO of India. That has been broken. That ceasefire violations are taking place in less than 6 hours of the understanding which was supposed to be implemented from 5 p.m. This has been confirmed by Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri. Pakistan has violated the ceasefire. In fact, the Ministry of External Affairs has said that ceasefire violations have been done by Pakistan and it's a breach of understanding. MEA also, the Foreign Secretary in fact also said that the Indian Army is retaliating at the border. They have been given complete freedom to react to Pakistan in whatever way they deem fit. They are maintaining a very strong vigil as well. Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, that after 48 hours of hostilities, this was a DGMO of Pakistan who called the Indian DGMO at 3:35 p.m. Saturday evening and requested for the military operations to be ceased. Now, Pakistan stands exposed in violation of the agreement.
For the last few hours, there have been repeated violations of the understanding arrived at earlier this evening between the Directors General of Military Operations of India and Pakistan. This is a breach of the understanding arrived at earlier today. The armed forces are giving an adequate and appropriate response to these violations, and we take very, very serious notice of these violations. We call upon Pakistan to take appropriate steps to address these violations and deal with the situation with seriousness and responsibility. The armed forces are maintaining a strong vigil on the situation. They have been given instructions to deal strongly with any instances of a repetition of the violations of the borders along the international border as well as the line of control.
Shiv Arun, my colleague, is on the ground in Srinagar, still reporting. Remember, has been a very long day for my colleagues as well. And late at this hour, Sunil Prabhu, my colleague, also reporting from the national capital. He was at that briefing of the Ministry of External Affairs. Shiv, very quickly coming to you first because you are on the ground in Srinagar. What's the situation right now? And Shiv, also reflect on the fact that, for Pakistan, because the chain of command is very, very clear. Army decides, army does whatever has to happen. It would be unbelievable and foolish to, assume that message would not have come from Rawalpindi about this understanding with India. Should these be taken as teething problems or a sinister plan of Pakistan in play?
It may be a mix of both, actually, Ankit. There may be some teething troubles for sure. We're already dealing with, a lot of unprofessionalism, a lot of unpredictability and uncertainty. And let's face it, a country that is essentially at its heart, a sponsor of terror and a terrorist haven. But having said that, whether there is anything more insidious about it, is Pakistan flexing? Is General Asim Munir flexing over the fact that India has only agreed to stop kinetic actions and is still holding the Indus Water Treaty, which is actually even more of a pain point than any destruction of any building, believe me, in abeyance as something to put pressure on Pakistan even now? Is that what it's about? Have the two sides been pushed into some kind of a ceasefire pact with Donald Trump jumping the gun and taking ownership of it? All of these, of course, are possibilities, but I think right at the heart of these ceasefire, these violations on the line of control international border, the drones coming in, is once again that this is a country, this is Pakistan, that has been at the short end of the stick for the last 3 days. It has failed almost overwhelmingly to impact any of the targets that it was aiming at in India, including where I'm sitting in Srinagar. Whereas on the other hand, India has used kinetic action, long-range offensive weapons from its aircraft to bomb as many as 11 air bases. All of the top most prestigious air bases in the country have all been bombed. Many of them have lost their runways. So it has been a very, very uneven, unequal, lopsided 3 days under Operation Sindoor. And therefore, I think Pakistan may have still needed to sell something to its domestic audience, which must be wondering what the Pakistan military was doing, just sitting there and taking all this pain for 3 days. So I would say it's a mix of all of these three. That's precisely why I think during the early hours of today, after the ceasefire was announced, there was a system-wide effort, perhaps to play down these violations and maybe round them up as teething problems, or give it some time. These things take time, etc. But I think the strong statement from the Foreign Secretary later in the evening and later in the night has clarified what's on India's mind right now.
It's also sent a message to Pakistan that possibly that's the red line, and after the Foreign Secretary have spoken, if these ceasefire violations don't come to a halt, situation can very well go back to square one from where it started at 3:30 p.m. on Saturday evening. Shiv, just stay on with me. Sunil, let me bring you in at this moment. You also spoke, there was some sort of briefing that also took place while yes, long rope has been given to Pakistan, thinking that these could be teething problems, but the message was also very stern and clear from the Foreign Secretary that India may not, wait any longer or much longer if this continues on the LC and the international border.
That's right. In fact, they've already given instructions to the armed forces to respond appropriately. There is no question in terms of, taking anything amiss. You have to continue to keep your guard, continue to be in operational readiness, and to respond in appropriate measure wherever there are ceasefire violations, and urging upon Pakistan to respect what it had done when its DGMO has called at 3:30 this afternoon to our Indian counterpart to say that they will be stopping all violations that have been taking place, be it land, sea, or air. And it's in that backdrop that they hope that it will be followed in letter and spirit. Of course, top government sources have indicated to us very categorically that yes, there will be some issues in terms of how the ceasefire rolls out. And that's the reason why we are giving it some time. But be that as it may, there is going to be no let-up on the armed forces part, and the messaging is very important at this present juncture to send to Pakistan that they will not take this lightly anymore.
Sunil, thank you for joining me. Shiv, let me bring you very quickly once more on this. We've been quite patient in the way we have conducted ourselves throughout this conflict, even when it was going up the escalatory ladder. How long possibly before, if Pakistan doesn't understand this message, do you reckon that there will be a strong retaliation?
Tomorrow. Tomorrow is the very short answer to your question, Ankit. I don't think India has the patience to, explain away violations beyond a ceasefire as teething troubles beyond a few hours. I think Vikram Misri's decision to have an on-record statement rather than a background briefing itself sent out a message that India has had enough, and that this will be all and nothing further than this in terms of giving it any kind of space for things to settle down, for orders to reach the frontier units, whatever it is. I think tomorrow, if there are violations, we're going to see a very, very different picture. India, remember, has made it very clear that this ceasefire was on its terms. It carries conditions. It does not include any scope of discussions or talks at a neutral site, like what Donald Trump was bragging about. India has not made any decisions on visas, the Indus Water Treaty, and the many other penal actions it has taken against Pakistan. And therefore, India does hold the cards. Let's be very clear about that. So I think I would give it another 24 hours, and if there are any drone actions of any kind, if there are violations on the line of control, then India will definitely be looking at other options.
Because you were earlier in the picture that you caught on your phone, we are playing that on our screens at this moment, which is also going viral all across. How long has this been in Srinagar, Shiv? Has it been quiet now? Are there still some activity that you are hearing at this moment?
It's been quiet for about 2 hours now, Ankit. The actual drone raid was about, it lasted for about 25 to 30 minutes. It was very, very chaotic, lots of gunfire from the ground, no blasts, as the army, of course, has clarified, even though there was a lot of gunfire, as it has been captured on our cameras. Engagement of drones, I think we saw, at least a few drones being targeted and brought down by that gunfire from the ground. And since then, it has been all quiet. We got to know that drones were headed towards the heart of Srinagar, Pahalgam, which is on the outskirts of Srinagar. It's also a military area, and a few other places, possibly even Avantipora, which is a big air base in the Pulwama Shopia area. And therefore, I think this is being read as offensive action. It's been listed and mentioned by Vikram Misri, the Foreign Secretary, as well. But since then, it's been all quiet.
It has been, trial by fire as far as our integrated air defense systems are concerned, and they have lived up. And how, when we've seen in the last 48 hours. Shiv, stay on with me. There is one very important news, and like we've been saying, we have been quite restrained in our reporting of the events which are taking place at this moment. I'm trying to bring you the latest updates, but also being very, very cautious in what we put out. And one such story that went viral today with a lot of speculation was what was happening at the military station of Nagrota. The Indian Army has now clarified that it was an intruder who was noticed by the sentry at the perimeter of the Nagrota military station. Then there was a brief exchange of fire that took place. A sentry has also sustained minor injury. Now a search operation is on to track that intruder / militant / terrorist or whosoever tried to in fact sneak in or storm their way in as far as the Nagrota station is concerned, or just in fact wanted to create chaos by firing at the sentry. But very, very important clarification coming in there by the Indian Army, Shiv, because a lot of speculation was going around what had happened at Nagrota.
At a time when the two countries, India and Pakistan, have been on the brink of all-out war, it was a war-like situation, and as close as it is possible to get to, an all-out war situation, to have, rumor peddling, rumor mongering, and, misinformation being put out there by verified handles, journalists, and veterans is embarrassing, because, misinformation in this last few days, Ankit, has been the preserve of Pakistan, not India. And to see this happen on a day when, perhaps the pressure is greatest to avoid any speculation, to avoid rumor mongering, and to sort of fan tensions and, a frenzy of emotion when people are feeling that way, I feel was very, very irresponsible. NDTV, of course, waited for a full corroboration and, a confirmation and a verification from the Indian Army. And look how it turned out. It turned out that the story was a fairly tame, fairly anodyne. There has been an injured sentry who took on some kind of suspicious movement, could be a militant or terrorist, and there is a cordon and search operation happening right now. Nothing compared to the kind of grisly picture that was being painted by some, which is something that could easily have triggered, actions on the other side. So, well, all's well that ends well in terms of that story, but I think the damage has been done in terms of misinformation.
Absolutely, and make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, that it's just not the kinetic action that we are seeing at this moment between India and Pakistan, but also an information warfare or a propaganda warfare which is going on, specifically targeting India from the Pakistani side, and everything that goes on our channels or is being reported is being very closely being monitored by the Pakistanis as well. Shiv, before I let you go, very quickly, also the fact that, we have seen Pakistan has flooded the social media with all kinds of content, trying to at least, they're not fooling anybody on this side of the border, but at least their own people, that they have some sort of an upper hand when it comes to this conflict, while begging on the other hand for some sort of an understanding on the, ceasing the hostilities.
They live in a fantasy land where misinformation and, Instagram screenshots are people's daily bread. And whether it is selling them the idea of shooting down 5 Rafales or the fact that the first female Rafale pilot was captured alive and is a captive of Pakistan, to destroying India's entire S-400, sites in India, to bombing the Amritsar airfield, all of these pieces of misinformation. I think I was looking at a document just before this broadcast, Ankit, where 64 separate pieces of misinformation from Pakistan have been busted by India in the last 3 days since Operation Sindoor began. I think tells you a little bit about the playbook that Pakistan is used to. They revel in fake news. They revel in keeping their domestic audiences in a dream world that is not anywhere close to real. And it is something that they've learned very well from the Chinese. If you're able to fool your people 75%, you will be able to control them. And I think that's what Pakistan has been trying to do. Because let's make no mistake, it has been bad news after bad news after bad news for Pakistan in the last 15 days. And I think they just needed to fall back on misinformation, fake news, and doctored videos and old videos, etc., in order to make it seem like things were not as bad as they were.
Things were so bad that Indian Army and the armed forces did not only have to respond to Pakistan's actions and, of course, pound them in their own territory. Indian Army decided to, in fact, on themselves go on debunking these false news. That's also a warfare that the Indian Army is engaging in at this moment. Shiv, thank you for joining us at this moment. It's been a very, very long day for my colleagues, those who have been continuously reporting on this story. We are hoping, against hope, that the night is not going to be full of surprises and things will taper down, and the agreement, at least, the understanding at least, would be adhered to by Pakistan. Short break, we are coming back. As we are talking about the ceasefire violations, Gujarat Home Minister Harsh Sanghvi held a meeting at the State Emergency Operations Centre. This was held after some drones were spotted over Kutch. In fact, these drones, after the drones were spotted, a complete blackout in the area is being observed. And there is a state of emergency, which the situation has also been demanded, and as I said, a complete blackout has been observed in this with disregard of the spotting of the drones over Kutch. Paras has more.
Rightly said, Ankit. A very, very typical and difficult situation for Kutch right now, because I'm standing somewhere in Kutch and you can see total blackout which has been imposed by the government right now in Kutch, in entire Kutch. We had seen there were some places a few days ago which was under the blackout, looking at the situation. But now what has happened a few hours ago in Gujarat and some other states in India, after knowing the situation, the total blackout has been imposed by the Gujarat government in Kutch. With that, Sangi, the Home Minister of Gujarat, has claimed that there was some drone which was seen in the skies of Kutch, and that's why this blackout has been imposed. But he has also claimed that there is no need to worry because armed forces are continuously tracking and the situation is under control. But there may be maybe many expect to this entire thing, because there has been talks of ceasefire violation by Pakistan a few hours ago. The ceasefire was said, but now the situation is different. We have to see what will happen, because there were some drones which was seen in the skies of Kutch, and that's why the total blackout.
We are slipping into a short break. News and updates will continue here on NDTV.